our guests are film practitioners who have made their names and their mark as leading actors and producers. Interestingly, as I said earlier on, they're a couple, and we will be discussing about their career, marriage, and they have a mega project they're working on. We'll be talking about all that today. Please welcome Mr. Ifeanyi and Nicole Kalu to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome to Nollywood on radio.
Thank you.
So let me start by asking, how did you both meet?
Okay, that's an interesting question, but every time I've been asked that question, I've always thrown it to my wife because I believe she's a far better detailed person than I am in certain aspects as regards, marriage and how we met.
Okay.
So I'd say you should go ahead.
Please.
You have the floor.
It's a very long story, so in a nutshell, the answer is simple. We met in a prayer group.
Prayer group.
Yes.
Ladies, start going to prayer.
Interesting. But were you both actors then? Were you both in the film industry at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it was 3 years ago. I've been in the industry since my first film in year 2000. And he has been in the industry since Lagos Cougars. So, that was 3.5 years ago.
Okay. Mr. Kalu, you came into the industry through, I would say notably, through MME Songs, Royal Heart Academy, and you featured on some of the titles that was produced that year. Yeah. What impact and advantage would you say that had on you and your career when you started?
Basically, I think it's the knowledge that you gain from film school, meeting like-minded individuals as well, being in a community of actors, of filmmakers. I believe that these things help shape, who you eventually become as a filmmaker, whether an actor, director, or any aspect of filmmaking. So yeah, I think that affected me or impacted me in ways that has made me become, it added to who I am as an actor. So yeah, I would say it was a good one.
Okay, Nicole, I don't think I've read or seen any of your interviews where you actually discussed about how you actually got into the industry. I'll be interested to know how you got into the industry.
You've not looked well. Because I just had one that was, I was looking for something and I just saw it online. And I went as far back as my childhood and all. I do talk about it a lot. It's just that I don't do a lot of interviews. It's just not my thing, you know. So, but as a filmmaker, of course, it has to become your thing. Hence why we're here. So, I started as a child actor.
Oh.
Yes. I had my cousins, would I call them veteran actors? Yeah. Who were in film and they lived with us, Uche Ndigwe and Chinelo Ndigwe, back in the days, and our house became a hub for entertainers, at the end of every audition. We lived in Enugu, so when they finished their auditions, it was like everyone just came over to our house and Kirisil Vanas, every day you see a new actor, Gentle Jack, all of them just chill in our house till evening, because we lived in New Haven, so it was central. Everybody just stayed.
Sorry to interrupt. When you say New Havens, we
Haven.
didn't know New Havens. Some people think it's a hotel.
Actually, I have been to Enugu and
I mean, it's like the popular place in Enugu now.
Yeah.
So if it's not Independence Layout, it's New Haven and all of that. So, anyways, I think it just sparked my interest to see them, look at these guys that come here and eat and just chill. And look at them on TV, they're like superstars. Oh my God, okay, I should do what they're doing. And that was already a huge case in the house. Like, people come and be entertained. I tell you, I want to do this for you, I want to do that for you. So I remember one day, a lady called Chini Matthews, who, I don't know, there was this popular movie she produced then. It was called Alice. Alice, My First Lady. Alice something. You know, it was big. It was one of her biggest projects. But before that, she did this movie. And she was looking for a child actor to play the younger version of Genevieve and Naji.
Okay.
And she came to visit my cousin Uche because she wanted Uche in the film.
Okay.
And I stopped her at the door. I don't know what I said or something, but I said, are you looking for Uncle Uche? Are you his girlfriend? Something like that. I think I just blabbed, and Uche was like, oh my God. I think I even like embarrassed him because I said, he saw you and he ran up to go and wear his clothes. So she was like, who is this girl? She can't talk. And I think throughout we were just friendly. And she asked my uncle, like, will her parents let her act? I have a role for her. And me, I overheard it. I said, I don't care if they let me also in this film.
How old were you at this time?
I was 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
So eventually I got the role, and before she was ready to film, we relocated from Enugu to Anambra because my dad was vying for a political position. So she still came. She came to Anambra, got me, and I went to Enugu and I shot the film. It was called Castaway, and I played the younger version of Genevieve and Naji. And that was my first time meeting Genevieve, and she was really cool. And after that, I was like, maybe this is what I want to do. So I that term. That term I came 12th in school.
Whoa.
It really affected my
Whoa,
education
whoa,
because
whoa.
I was always first, fifth, and my dad was like, never again. So I stopped acting, and then I just kept writing scripts, writing short stories, writing until I could come out of this, cage and go back. Then I got into university, started talking to producer friends I knew. Then I got roles here and there, met Emily Song in Lagos, got more roles. And then one day I sold my first script to Uche Jumbo, and she did the film called Damage and gave me and the rest they say is history.
So then, what was your dad's reaction?
So when I got to uni, he was cool. I later realized that my dad didn't have a problem. It was my mom. So my mom was like, no, this thing will just get her distracted. Why is she in this? So I'll even get like movie camp opportunities, and my mom would stand in the middle of it. So one day my dad told me, I want you to be a superstar. If I go to Big Brother. He said, I don't care. He said, but your mommy, she's scared. So just give her a good result and then go do what you want to do. So I graduated Magna. Yeah, 2-1. And she was like, no, you can't go and do what you want to do.
Reluctantly.
I finished school. I remember I graduated August. I left UNN on the 3rd of September. I spent 6 days in my father's house and I left for Lagos. My mom was like, I was waiting for you to come back. All the food you're going to be cooking. I said, I have a dream to pursue, leave me alone. So, and I never went back. Not like I never went back.
I get. You just have to pursue it fully at that time.
Yeah. So I
I get.
relocated to Lagos, and then I started pursuing to do my first short film. I did my first short film sponsored by Sterling Bank. After that, I went on to do all the things I'm doing now. So all those scripts I was writing then that they were not letting me do, I had 42 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
42 scripts.
And those are the films I'm producing now.
How many have you turned
So far.
into?
3.
3 so far.
Yeah. I sold 2, and then I've shot 3, and the rest are hard
In
drives.
pipeline. Interesting. So, Mr. Kalu, I'd like to know, what was the first experience like for you on a film set?
I think it was, for me, shocking. Because I'd always known that I had a thing for acting. I'd always known that I was talented. I'd always known that I would be an amazing actor. I mean, my wife knows it's one of the things that she admires a lot about me. Yeah, but you know how that people from, the outside just look at movies, watch films, and just think it's a walk in the park. It's just very easy. I think that was the same mindset I had, getting into the industry. And my very first set that I was on, of course, I mean, in film school we had practiced
Of course.
when it's time to film, it's usually quite different, because at that point in time everybody wants to give their best, and these things take time. The number of takes were shocking to me. I mean, why do we have to do this over and over again? Understanding synergy amongst actors. Now you're meeting an actor that wasn't in film school with you, and he's on a totally different frequency. So there ought to be a matchup, and this is the job of the director to ensure that that synergy is perfect. And then when that is not happening, there would have to be
Retakes.
take 1,
Yeah.
take 2, take 3, take 4, especially when you meet directors that are particular about having so many takes for perfection. So that was shocking to me. And then, they always say that actors are they have the tendency to be bipolar, right? I mean, that's another conversation for another day, but there's some truth in it. Why I said that is because now getting on set, doing the real thing, you meet different kinds of people, character traits, personality traits, how they respond to things that happen on set. You just have to find a balance. So those were some of the things that were surprising to me, and over time, of course, with experience, I've been able to balance it all.
Interesting. So, have you both featured on a particular film?
My wife is more of a producer.
No, but she had
she's
some
been
acting.
in front of the camera.
I stopped acting for a while. Doesn't mean that I would never go back to it, but for now I just stopped acting because I feel like it's important for me to master every craft that I go into, and I try to give it my all. So as I'm producing now, majority of my films you won't see me in it, but and then
Is that
I've had
deliberate?
people- Yes, very deliberate. Yes, because I've also had people who have come to, Nicole, I know you're very good at this. Let me be in this film. All of that, and I've had great opportunities from phenomenal film directors and producers that I adore and I respect. But I just felt like it wasn't yet time for me to go back to it. And if I'm going to go back to it, there has to be a certain character, and not just for the fun of I'm in a film. Yeah, since we met,
Good morning.
he doesn't let me pay him smaller. Like literally, he goes through my budget. I said, if you pay this person this price, people think like, you're using your husband, you get.
So you
But I
actually
love
pay.
No, yes, I do pay. And he makes sure it reflects, like, even like I say, but babe, you're owing me 1 million. Remember you said you do this. You say, let it reflect my account. So, but I love it. I insisted on that, actually. I insisted on, oh, no, I'm going to put a fee for your craft in this film. And he's like, if you don't have enough budget, don't stress. I'm like, no, like, look, in the end, I'm a corporate organization, I'm a corporate entity. I'm going to be audited. So you're not doing me a favor, really. So you're just losing.
I'm doing you a favor.
No, well, you're doing me a favor in the long
Wow.
run, but me not doing it is not doing myself a favor because my own person is losing. Yeah, basically.
Okay, so Mr. Kelly, do you think you put more into films produced by your wife than any other producer or with any other director?
No, I don't think that's the case.
He does.
No, this is what I'm going to say.
He does.
Okay. I see what's happening here.
So what I was going to say is, my wife is a talented filmmaker. She's very professional as a producer, right? So, and you hardly come by these kind of people in the industry. There are quite a number of them, right? So, the level of seriousness she puts in her craft, as an actor, you don't have a choice than to bring it on. Do you get you? I mean, the last movie we just finished, every actor was feeding off every actor. Even the crew members were feeding off themselves, because you're having someone doing something excellent and you don't want to be seen as the one who isn't. Do you get? So
Or the weakest link?
exactly. So in answering the question, that's why I said that's not exactly the case. It's about who is producing this job and the amount of professionalism they bring into play. And then
I know why I said he does. And I said he does because he's not just an actor on the set.
They are behind
He's
it.
producing, he's
Alongside.
coordinating. And then I'm like, babe, we're shooting your scenes today. And he's like, yeah, but the person that's supposed to deliver the cake for tomorrow's scene didn't come through. So I called this person. I have to go pick it up, and then I'm coming back.
That's the part you don't pay me for.
I really appreciated it a lot on the last set. Even, sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't even know how much work someone puts in for you because it's your husband. And we're coming from church. Please let me go and do recce. There's one hotel they said will work, and then we go. I was putting together a video of all the locations we checked out before we picked the final place we shot in.
Okay.
90% of them, Ifeanyi was in front of my camera. And I didn't even realize he went to as much recce's with me. So he does put in a lot of work. I mean, as an actor, he'll read his script, he'll do whatever, he'll come to set, he'll put in his 101%, but he gave me 200% because he was very hands-on behind the scene. And of course, I was filming, so whenever they said cut, he went to be with the baby. I didn't change a diaper once throughout the 30 days we shot.
Wow.
Interesting.
So now
Interesting.
they know that I
But there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, so that brings me to this mega project you just work or you're working on. You're done. You're in post-production. Give us details. I know you might not want to tell us names, understandably, but
We'll
give
take
us,
it. We'll take
give
what
us
you give us.
everybody gives us something. Something that is
Fresh.
the first to be heard on Nollywood on radio. So you have to give us that tea. Serve it up.
One thing that I know is that it is a classic.
Okay.
We've just shot a classic, and we know that with our full chest, And this will be one of the films that actually, by a Nigerian producer that has synergized Nollywood and Bollywood properly.
Wow.
And I was so fortunate to have some really phenomenal actors whose shows are blockbusters on Z World.
Interesting.
And I mean, it was so amazing. A story. I have a video of it. When the Indian actors came into Nigeria and they got picked up, they were like, "Oh, first thing they want to taste Nigerian food." So that night they were shooting. I made sure everything was cool. And I was like, "I want to take you guys myself. So where can we get variety and they can taste a lot of things without breaking bank?" The place. So we took them. Sorry, not the place. What's that thing? Black Bell, right?
Oh,
okay.
So we took them to the restaurant and they had a variety of, an onslaught to taste from. Immediately we came in, to my greatest surprise. Oh my God!
People in the restaurant?
I'm telling you, like the workers.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, this person said, "I know you. I watch you on Z World." This one said, "Hey, Naheem, sure, Naheem." Like they went crazy. They started clapping. I was embarrassed. I said, "I'm never getting used to it even though I'm married to a superstar." Like, it was so embarrassing. Like, I just wanted to come to the most, regular restaurant, get these people to try out. If they wanted me to buy 10 things, I was open to it, get a great feel of Nigerian cuisine. Now, so embarrassment just made me sit in one corner. I said, I brought my celebrities, out on the streets. They wanted to mob them.
But they were happy about it?
They were shaking everybody. They were like, and then they stay speaking in English. And they're saying, Z World. The older actor asked him, "What's Z World?" I was like, it's like, so he mentioned like a TV channel like that in India. And then he's like, they said I have 3 shows. Because he posted he was in Nigeria, the younger one. Okay. And then everybody started, "My favorite actor in my country. I didn't even know they were that big. Really, I didn't know they were that big on the streets of Nigeria. I knew they were big Indian actors, but I felt maybe a few people would know them and watch Indian films. But it was such a rewarding experience for me that, I found them and we worked together and they were happy. I think that set off a great mood for them throughout the journey because they felt like we have fans here already. We have to put in 110%. People that were calling you and saying, "Hey, I've not shot today. Is everything okay? Are you guys good? Do you need me to bring this? Do you need me to bring that?" It was a beautiful experience for everybody on the set. You know, a set where people finish and they're saying, "Can we spend 2 more days before we leave?" It was that kind of a family.
Okay. So, are you in post-production? Are you done with production?
We're done with production. Concluded production 7th of June, and we are in post-production now.
Okay. Is it cinema? Is it going to streaming platform?
Honestly, we're in conversations with several, exhibitors to see what we want to do. Do we want? Everybody wants an acquisition deal. Really, like, take it off me, and I don't stress, But we're also trying to make sure what's best for it and what will get it out there for the audience. Because we did this film. It has veterans. It has Nkem Owo. So first of all, it's called On Different Grounds. On Different Ground is the story of a family who's been estranged and come back in the wake of a big wedding. So a lot of things and it's like a billionaire's family, and all of that. So it's money everywhere. It's luxury and it's tradition. So you can imagine an Nkem Owo, Bob Manuel Udoku, Jennifer Iliogu, you have, and then you come to the young people, you have Uche Montana, you have Bam Bam, you have the Ozumba Badiwe twins. Yes, you have, of course, the one and only Faikalo. And you have a whole plethora of people, Uche Jumbo, Ebelo Caro. It's a lot of people. I think we had, it was an A-list ensemble.
The American.
And then the lead. Oh, my God. It was such an amazing way this thing happened. You knew it was divine providence that we got the former Miss Earth USA. Played the lead. Abena Kwaba, amazing human being, and we just loved her, and she aced it. She said, "Look, I have a 9 to 5. I may not get, because it wasn't that much long. It wasn't enough notice, because we had someone in mind already, but it got to a point where it wasn't really working. We're trying to force it to work, and." I found her. I remember we were just looking, and then we saw Frank Raja's movie that came up on Netflix, and my husband was like, "Well, just come and watch it, you never know, So we're watching her, and we're like, based on the character I wrote, this is her. She's not acting it in this film, but her body, her look, her everything. And then it was like we said it at the same time. Look at we call the character's name, and I was like, I'll try it too. I reached out to all my Ghana people, big actresses there, Pascal Amanfo. I wrote all this. I'm looking for this girl. Until it went, and then I found out that Majid was the person who brought her into the film. I reached out to Majid, and then we got her to audition, and she did amazing. And she said, "Look, I'm willing to quit my job."
Wow!
And she made sacrifices that made you know that she's meant for stardom. She's meant to be a superstar, and she aced the film. Of course, when you're working with Mildred Okwa, even if it's your first, it's a masterclass in film. It was amazing. It was. I would say it was one of the honors of my youth doing this film.
This is actually cross-cultural. You're talking about Nigerians, you're talking about Ghanaians, you're talking about Indians and
Americans.
all that. Americans.
Yeah.
So would you, you said you're speaking with exhibitors at the moment, but are you looking, because I feel one of the ways you can maximize the entire product eventually is also share with other countries that have their culture.
Oh yeah.
Are you also looking at doing that?
We're definitely trying to get in talks with, first of all, the Indian Deputy High Commissioner. That's already the first, because it's their country, and all the other ways that, like I said, it's a lot of conversations. We're not rushing into anything. We're taking our time. When you have a good product in your hands, you're not looking for help. You just know that this will meet the audience wherever they are, and they'll connect with it, because it's 3 generations coming together to do this film.
Interesting.
And it was great vibes, so you already know that that's already pushing the film on its own. Great vibes. Yeah.
Okay, so my question is to Mr. Kalu.
I just wanted to stay and listen to my wife.
Oh no, you don't get that opportunity. In fact, that bothers with my question.
Oh.
So listening to her speak, you hear a lot of passion for what she does, and Fortunately or unfortunately, some of this passion is not necessarily reflected in front of the camera. You are the face in front of the camera that people see and easily recognize. Your wife is sort of behind the scenes, and many people do not know her. They just know that, oh, she's a filmmaker. Yes, you are both in the film industry, but you are not necessarily in front of the camera. You are not the known face. He is more, his face is more popular. How do you handle that dynamic as a couple?
So the interesting part of your question is, in truth, it should be directed to
me,
my
I
wife.
know, right? Because he's not the one handling it.
Because
I'm just gonna say
Okay.
something, maybe just a few words, and I'll let her continue. It's awkward, especially when we go out and then people are all in my face. They want pictures or they want to have a chat. And sometimes, I just use my side eye to look at my wife. I'm like, okay, are you okay? Do you hope you feel all right? So, that happens. But how do I feel about that? I think it's just it's normal as every other actor. Sometimes you're up for it. Sometimes you're just tired. But we somehow you just have to have that smile on, whether it's plastic or whether it's real, because of course there's an expectation, people have of celebrities. You should always be ready for them, whether you've gone through hell, just before, So yeah, I just do my best to ensure that I'm there, to make people happy. When I see them physically, if they want a picture, fine. If they want to chat, if I have that time, of course I will. But yeah, my wife will now be the one to say how she feels when that happens.
Well, I think because I started doing films at an early age. So before I got into uni, people knew me, especially in the East. So I was on Dear Mother for the Lord. I was on Tinsel. So people would always recognize me. And then I was dating someone who was very, very reserved, shy to the core. So for him then in uni, it was more like, this is too much. Or maybe if we do get married, you just have to stop this, So for me,
That's why you didn't get married.
I always felt like, but it's not a big deal. These people are just excited. So I think having been put in that place, marrying someone who is, bigger face, that's more like Ifeanyi is known down to the market women. Yeah. Like for some reason, there's so many celebrities on social media who you might find their social media following way more than his. But if they stand with Ifeanyi, we've gone to places, we've gone to countries, we've been in Dubai, people come to ask for pictures. We've been in Greece, people remember him, recognize him. We were on a boat cruise, an Ethiopian guy saw him and said, "Mr. Kalu, I know you." I'm like, "You're not known, nigga." But it's for me, it's exciting because I've been there, and then seeing him, knowing he's the shy one, and being thrown into those situations, he's more uncomfortable than I get. So when I see people, most times they come up, they're looking at me like, I'm like, Auntie, come, I'll take the picture for you. So we had one, we were entering our pastor's house. It was a marriage counseling, we're about to get married, and the woman just parked and came back, hey, I love your movies. And she saw me and she's like, she wanted to come down. She was like, okay, is that your wife? Sorry, I'm not a weirdo. I just wanted to. I said, don't worry, ma, come down and take a picture. I'll take. You're an angel. So she came. She was like, so should we do a selfie? I said, no, let me take two of you, because I know he's the person you want to take a picture with. You're just being kind, and that's really nice. You find the people who are cautious like that. They're the people who don't even send that you're there. And they're like, please, sir, I love you. Can I take? And those ones I kind of look like, Auntie, they're not throwing you home. but otherwise it's always good vibes, great people, and for me it shows he's doing something good and his craft is being because I tell you, as shy as they are, these actors, they come out somewhere and then you don't really send. It will be like, hey, maybe we're not working enough. One day we enter the restaurant and somebody say, Mr. Kalu, I've not seen your movies in a while. It's like you've stopped acting. Don't use because of marriage and stuff. I'm like, hey God, say Ifeanyi, you see all those films you've been rejecting, start taking them again. So people take it so personal, and for me, I make sure that if I'm there, that the experience of meeting him is always memorable.
Interesting. So let me start with Mr. Kalu again. So what defines the roles you take and the roles you reject?
Story, morals. First things first, regardless of how much you want to take seriously the technicalities of filmmaking, production, you can have the best equipment, you can have the best actors, you can have the best of everything, but if your story isn't good, then you've just wasted your time. Okay, so for me, the first thing is got to be the story. Is the story good? Of course, if it's good, we'll go ahead. Personally, there are certain things that I also I have cut down a lot on, in accepting roles. I'm not very much into playing characters that have playing a character or characters that are quite intimate with women. So personally, I don't do. I mean, this is not doctrine. This is just me personally.
Okay.
So those things also matter to me. I'd just say the story. The story has to be good, and then sometimes you have a good story, and you have poor production, and sometimes you can tell that this movie, the people behind it are not serious. Sometimes you really can't tell, and it kind of like affects the psyche of the actor, because whether or not you choose to believe it, I mean, this happens with everyone. You would only be serious with people who are serious with you, right? And the same thing applies to film. You would only be serious to put in your all if you know that the production is up to the task, So you want to be sure. Okay, so who's the director? So I do my background check. You get it, because people see these things. Okay, to digress a bit, we were on location recce, for the movie ODG that my wife's been talking about, and we walked into a restaurant. And we saw the manager, we want to use this place to film. And then he looks at us, is like, okay, I'll talk to my boss and I'll get back to you. And after a few minutes, they called and they're like, okay, we want to know the name of the director. Okay, so they got the name of the director, and of course, what would they have done? Gone online to check. Do you get? So these things are applicable in every sphere of influence. So even as a filmmaker, you want to know, who is this producer? Okay, who is this director? Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't. I don't think it's okay to really do that, but there are certain things that happen, and I just want to also know. So who are the actors that I'm on set with? Because there's a level you get to in your career, that you've done so well for yourself, and you don't want to go on a nosedive. You just want to keep ascending. Do you get? So these things, it's not cast in stone, but we just have to make sure that we find that balance. Make sure that the entire set is worth it. And where is the movie going to? Sometimes you want to. There are movies that I've done and I've vouched for. This is a very amazing movie, but it never saw the light of day. So those are some of the factors that we have to consider in accepting a script.
Okay, so my next question is to you. We've seen a lot of female filmmakers do amazing things in cinemas. In fact, it's when you hear that a film is coming to the cinema, you hear that it's from a woman, and maybe there are 3-4 films at the same time, you feel like, oh, which is going to be the best? That's what people are looking for now. Female filmmakers are the in thing. They are
the trend now.
It's the trend. They're doing much better than their male
The males
counterparts.
seem to have taken back seats.
The women are better at it, obviously. So because we have an eye for detail, and we, yes, I would say that. I know that you have, grown your career over time, and you've followed a certain trajectory, and you have a focus But is there going to be a time that you're going to join the league of female filmmakers who are, dropping hits after hits every year? I mean, at least once a year at the cinemas, not just on streaming platforms now, because definitely, of course, the audience is different. But are we going to see a time that you come out as a filmmaker and that every year or every season, maybe Easter, Ramadan, Christmas, you have something, hot and fresh in the cinemas? Is there going to be a time like that? Or what's the focus for you?
Honestly, there might, and also there might not be, because my drive for filmmaking has never really been about releasing hit after hit and being in the cat of, let's pick the cards, who's the biggest seller, who's the biggest box office breaker. I always phenomenally doff my hat to the marketing genius that is Funke Akindele, and what she's doing to basically, she people think it's luck, people think she knows people, she's this, she's that. She works hard. I'm learning. She's an inspiration to all of us, because I'm the kind of person that I would have this interview and I would never post it anywhere. I would get a major deal in the US or something and I would not really put it out. People would be push it now. The way I started film was never because I wanted to be a superstar, or I just felt like this is being done by these common people, these guys that are here finishing my mom's food, and then I go to school and people are like, oh, I love this person, he's a big star, he was in my house yesterday eating rice, So I realized that they were not special people. They were like you and I. They just put in work. So I was like, I never want to just be regular. I just want to put in work. And then I started from boredom writing scripts that are now shooting. For me, it's such a privilege to even have those things to film. Now, I treat all my films like they're my kids, because I take time. It's years and years that it has sat with me. ODG is 20 years next year since I wrote it.
Wow. 20 years.
It's 20 years next year since I wrote it. I have scripts that I wrote in 2003, in 2006, and some of them will be 20-something years, and if I can do it and get earnings for it, like get paid well for it, that's beautiful. Let people enjoy it. That's my own. So hopefully one day the vision might change. I want to be able to, when I was small, I told my mom something when I was a kid. I said, Mommy, the fact that you are doing all these things and you can't come for my graduation is really somehow for me. That's why I'm going to work to be my own boss. I said, if I decide that in 1 year I wouldn't work and I just want to travel the world with my kids, nobody would tell me you have to return to work, resume. Because my mom was a civil servant. She worked as the PA to the governor. She worked as a special advisor to the, all those roles in government, that she didn't vie for an election. She was always chief this. She had an office in the government house and all. So she didn't have time for herself. She didn't have the liberty of her own time. So looking at my mom, I knew from childhood that I wanted to be so financially, free, that I called the shots on my own time. And that was the drive to start working hard. And when film became the avenue, that was what it was for me. So my intention is that one day, the 40 film catalog, I have young filmmakers who come under my production studio, like the way a Sony Pictures or a DreamWorks is. We get a producer, get a director, create a package of film, this is the script, this is the person doing this and that, and then they go ahead and they shoot the film. A percentage of the money is theirs. We brought the money. It's our film. A percentage is ours, and we have filmmakers in their plethora that have been set up and built along that line. So people then now go create their own production companies and all of that, and they can come and we present their films. That's the intention, and that's really my main goal.
So finally, before we round this off, I would want to know if you would have to go back on set and appear in front of the camera, what role are you picturing for yourself? That's one. Then two, YouTube is the in thing aside from streaming platforms. Are you looking at also having production for your YouTube channel?
It's not. I'll start with the YouTube one. Absolutely. So, we do have. I'll let my husband answer the YouTube question honestly, because he has a plan.
So yeah, there's a market for it. I think one of the things to do to be wise in the industry is to understand the segmentation of the market. So there's the YouTube market, there's the market for streamers and cinema and all of that. So yeah, we have a YouTube channel and we're already doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not called Ifeanyi Kalu channel.
You will never find it.
Yeah. So
Okay, so the second question.
the second question.
What role are you picturing for
you
yourself,
picture yourself?
if you have to go back in front of the camera as an
My
actor?
sister none in
Oh.
Oh no! It's gonna be a girl on the street kissing 500 female. Did I say female? You know, one day there was a film of his that was played from many years ago. If you see this kissing in this film, oh God! I looked and said, look at you, rubbing saliva with somebody. You came to marry me. I said, take your stars. So I said, when I go, take your stars and back, because after watching this guy, I'm going to take a role that you see, who are the hottest boys that used to kiss me? So, I just made that. He laughed about it. He said, but seriously, thank God. So eventually, I think that I would do, I love action films, and I might come back in my next project. I have two projects, one already funded and one that we're trying to conclude funding on. And one of them is called ATBM. I won't say the name yet, but we're about to go into pre-production for that one. And it's another classic. It's a UK-Nigeria partnership, and it's beautiful. Shot half in Nigeria, half in the UK. But that one, I think the one after it is the one that I may come back in. And it's an action comedy. Half is shot here, Cameroon, Liberia, and we're trying to see if we can do something with Greece. I have the vision of just making my films a global film. Most times you will find that most of my films will not have just Nigerian actors. You'll have Ghanaians, you'll have South Africans, whatever it is, So because it's all of us. Let's see all the faces we like. So that might be the one that I come back in.
Thank you for that, Nicole. And thank you so much for showing up, Mr. and Mrs. Kalu and Nicole Kalu. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was fantastic. It was nice having you on set.